The dealership is about to approve you for a loan you can't afford. They know it, the lender knows it, the math knows it, and in 30 years, you'll know it too. When you finally realize the car you drove off the lot at 28 is the reason you're still working at 65. The average new car payment in America just crossed $770 a month, a record. 1 in 5 new car buyers is now signing up for 4-figure monthly payments. Loan terms have stretched past 84 months. Nearly 23% of new car buyers are financing for 7 full years on a vehicle that loses 60% of its value in 5 years. And here's the part nobody tells you. The dealer doesn't care if you can afford it. They care if you can be approved for it. Those are two completely different numbers, and the gap between them is where most middle-class wealth quietly disappears. So today we're running the actual math at $50,000 a year, $80,000, $125,000, and $200,000. We'll show you exactly what the dealer will approve you for, exactly what you can actually afford, and what the difference between those two numbers compounds to over 30 years. The answer is going to make you uncomfortable. Let's get into it. Before we touch a single dollar of your salary, you need to understand what's happening in the car market in 2026, because almost nothing about it looks like it did even 3 years ago. The average new car in America now costs $49,220, according to Kelley Blue Book's latest report. The average transaction price peaked in December 2025 at $50,600 and has cooled slightly since. The typical new car loan amount just hit $43,890, a record, and the rates on those loans are punishing. The average APR on a 60-month new car loan is sitting at 6.96%. Lenders report average used car APRs between 9.98 and 14.49%, depending on your credit tiers. The highest risk borrowers are now paying over 19% to finance a 5-year-old Camry. That is not a typo. Loan terms have stretched in a way that should genuinely concern you. Almost 23% of new car buyers are now signing 84-month loans or longer. 7 full years of payments on a vehicle that's already lost most of its value by year 3, let alone year 5. The line between new car debt and used car debt has disappeared. Then there's the $1,000 a month payment club. 1 in 5 Americans buying a new car this past quarter signed up for a 4-figure monthly payment. 5 years ago, that number was a rounding error. Today, it's a club with millions of members. And here's the quiet shift almost nobody is talking about. Households earning under $75,000 a year have largely exited the new car market entirely. New cars are now an upper-income product. The auto industry has built a financing system that only works if you keep stretching the loans, and they've trained an entire generation of buyers to think a long loan is a gift instead of what it actually is. These aren't just statistics. They're the reason most Americans are quietly broke. And it's about to get worse, because none of these numbers tell you what the dealer is actually about to do to you when you walk through the door. Here's the trick almost every dealer relies on. When they quote you a monthly payment, they're quoting you about 30% of what the car is actually going to cost you. The other 70% shows up later, and most buyers never run the math until it's too late. There are 6 real costs of owning a car, and you need to know all of them before we look at a single number on your salary. 1. The down payment. The cash you hand over at signing. Most buyers put nothing down, which means they're financing 100% of a depreciating asset. A 20% down payment is the difference between owing more than your car is worth and owning real equity from day one. 2. Financing. The monthly payment is just the surface. What matters is the total interest. On a $32,000 car at 8% over 72 months, you'll pay over $8,300 in interest alone. Stretch that to 84 months and you cross $9,700 for the same car. You're paying nearly $10,000 for the privilege of owing money longer. 3. Running costs. Insurance averages $158 a month, more if you're under 25 or driving anything performance. Gas averages about $150 a month at the typical commute 5 miles per gallon. Registration costs a few hundred a year, plus state inspections. Maintenance averages $792 annually on a Toyota or Honda, $3,000 to $5,000 a year on a German luxury vehicle out of warranty. This is the cost almost nobody plans for, and it's the cost that wrecks you at year 4 when the warranty expires. 4. The silent killer. This is the cost no one talks about, and it is the single largest expense of car ownership. The moment you drive a new car off the lot, it loses 11% of its value. After 1 year, 25%. After 3 years, 46%. After 5 years, the average new car is worth 63% less than what you paid for it. On a $50,000 car, that's $30,000 of your money vaporized over 5 years. Whether or not you ever sell the car, that loss is real. It has already happened. You just don't see it until you try to trade in. 5. Opportunity cost. While your money is locked in a depreciating vehicle, it is not locked in an appreciating asset. Every dollar in your driveway is a dollar not in your index fund, your retirement account, your down payment fund, or your kid's college fund. The car doesn't just cost what you paid, it costs what you didn't earn. 6. The hidden fees. Dealer documentation fees, addendum sticker charges for paint protection, and nitrage the dealer $20 that cost you $500. Extended warranties that may never pay out. Gap insurance you might already have on your auto policy. The average buyer pays $100 to $2, $400 in fees on top of the sticker price, and almost nobody reads the line items. Add all 6 together and the rule of thumb is simple. The true cost of owning a car is roughly 1.5 to 2 times the monthly payment. So when the dealer quotes you $700 a month, you're really committing to $1,000 to $1,400 a month in total cost. And that's before we even talk about what the dealer is allowed to approve you for, which is where this gets uncomfortable. Here's the part of the car buying conversation almost no creator tells you about, because it requires admitting how the system actually works. When you walk into a dealership, the finance manager isn't asking, "What can you afford?" That is not the question. The question they're answering is, "What can you be approved for?" And those two questions have completely different answers. Lenders qualify you using your debt-to-income ratio, also called DTI. Most auto lenders will approve you up to 45% DTIs, meaning your total monthly debt payments, including the new car, can be as high as 45% of your gross monthly income. General financial planners consider 36% DTI to be the upper edge of healthy. Auto lenders operate 9 points above that. They're not protecting your future, they're protecting their loan. Here's how that plays out in real life. Say you make $6,000 a month gross. You have $1,200 in rent, $200 in student loans, and $100 a credit card payment. Your existing DTI is 25%. The lender will happily approve you for another $2,200 a month in car debt, right at the edge of 45%. $2,200 a month sounds like a lot of car, and it is. But the lender doesn't want a 36-month loan. They want a 72 or 84-month loan, because that's where their margin lives. So they don't tell you you can afford a $40,000 car. They tell you your monthly payment is $200. Let's go look at the SUV with the leather seats. Same monthly payments, more expensive car. That's the trick. Now look at the loan stretch math. Hold the monthly payment constant at $500 a month and change only the loan term. On a 36-month loan buys you about a $16,000 car. On a 72-month loan, $500 a month buys you about a $29,000 car. On a 96-month loan, and yes, those exist now, $500 a month buys you about a $36,000 car. Same budget, same person, more than double the car. The lender prefers the longer loan because they collect more interest. Then they sell your loan to a third party for a profit anyway. They don't even hold the risk if you default. The dealer's job is not to protect your finances. It's to find the longest loan term that fits your monthly budgets. Then put you in the most expensive car the math allows. Once you understand that, you can finally see what the dealer is actually about to do to you at every income level. Meet Daniel. He's 27, works in marketing, and makes $50,000 a year, close to the median individual income in America. After tax, he takes home about $3,500 a month. His old Civic just failed inspection, and he's ready for something newer. Daniel walks into a Toyota dealership thinking he can afford maybe $300 a month. The salesman runs his credit, runs his DTI, and comes back with what feels like a gift. Net new Corolla Cross EV, 30,000 out the $, monthly 2-month, Lewis out the door, 70 payment, loan at 8% APR. Daniel has, but the salesman walks him through the math. It's only $260 more than UV. Daniel signs. Now let's run what Daniel just signed up for. That $500 just signed a loan. Add insurance at a $170 is just the loan. Gas at maintenance reserves at $60. The all-in monthly cost of that Corolla dollars. Daniel makes $3,500 after tax. That car is consuming 27% of his take-home pay before rent, before groceries, before saving a single dollar for retirement. On a $50 zeros in income, all transportation costs should stay under 10% of gross. That's $417 a month for everything. Daniel just signed a contract that's more than double the rule. Here's what Daniel should have bought. A 3-year-old certified pre-owned Honda Civic or Toyota Corolla, roughly $16,000. With 20% down and a 36-month loan at 7%, his payment is about $395. All-in monthly cost about $705. Car pays it off completely in 3 years. From year 4 onward, that $395 goes straight into his brokerage account. That's the version of Daniel who builds wealth. The other version, the one who walked out with the Corolla Cross, is going to spend the next 6 years just trying to keep up. But that's just the entry-level version of this trap. Watch what happens when Daniel earns $80,000. Same Daniel 3 years later, promoted, now making $80,000 a year, taking home about $5,200 a month. He feels like he's earned an upgrade. The used Civic option is beneath him now. This time he walks into a BMW dealership. With his clean credit and income, the lender will approve up to $1,400 a month. Enough for a brand new BMW X3, $52,000. 84-month loan at 7.5% APR.
Daniel feels great. He's not now
Approval, so he tells himself he's being responsible. So he tells himself $7 is the loan. Insurance on a luxury vehicle, $220. Premium maintenance reserves, $160, because BMWs out of warranty are expensive. All in, $1,307 a month. That's 26% of every dollar. The same percentage Daniel was paying at $50,000. He didn't upgrade his life, he upgraded his cars. On gross income, he's at 20.7%. The rule is Daniel should have bought is a 3-year-old certified pre-owned Toyota or Honda CR-V hybrid. Roughly $26,000, 20% down, 48-month loan at 7%. Payment about $498. All in about $808. The loan is gone in 4 years, and Daniel frees up nearly $500 a month. A number we'll come back to at the end, but here's where it gets interesting, because at $125,000 a year the dealer plays an even bigger game. Daniel is now 35, a senior manager making $125,000 a year. After tax, he's bringing home $7,500 a month. He's married, owns a starter home, has just enough savings to feel comfortable but not rich. His wife has been mentioning a Tesla. He decides it's time for a real car. The salesperson confirms what Daniel suspected. The lender will approve over $2,000 a month. Daniel doesn't max it out. He chooses a Model X at $78,000. 84-month loan at 7% payment. 1-to-1 loan at $77. Welcome to the $1.0 a month payment club. Daniel just joined the 20% of new car buyers in America paying 4 figures every month. He doesn't know it yet. He just knows the car is beautiful. The real math, 177 cents is the loan. Insurance on a Model X, $240. Charging at home, $60 an e. Fees a month, 67 a month. On Daniel's $7,500 take home, that car is eating 21% of every dollar. On gross income, his all-in transportation sits at 15%. The rule is 10%. And here's the part Daniel hasn't run. That $78,000 Tesla will lose roughly $46,800 as in value over 5 years. That's the equivalent of his entire net savings rate gone. Just to depreciation. He's working full-time at $125,000 a year, and a meaningful chunk of his labor is being absorbed by the vehicle in his driveway. What Daniel should have bought is a 3-year-old CPO Tesla Model Y, BMW iX or Lexus RX. Roughly $40,000, 20% down, 48-month loan at 6.5%. Payment about $759. All in about $1,069. Just inside the rule. Still a luxury vehicle. Still a Tesla. And here's where it gets uncomfortable, because most people watching this think people earning $200 a year don't fall for any of this. They do, they just fall harder. Final scenario. Daniel is now 42. An executive making $200,000 a year, taking home $11,500 a month. He's hit every milestone: house, marriage, kids in private schools, decent retirement balance. He's decided he's earned a real car. He walks into a Porsche dealership. The salesman barely runs his credit. The lender will approve almost any payment under $3,000 a month. Daniel chooses a Cayenne at $130,000. 84-month loan at 6.9%. Payment, $1,955. He feels like he made it, and he did make it. He just didn't make as much as he thinks. The real math at $200,000. $1,950 is the loan. Premium gas at his commute, $250. Maintenance reserves on a $130,000 German SUV, $300 conservatively. All in, $2,825 a month. On a $200,000 gross income, 10%. The rule is 10%. He's not as far over as Daniel was at $50,000, but the absolute dollars are catastrophic. Now look at the depreciation. A 100 loses 60% value. Cayenne loses 60% of its value over 5 years. About 15,600 a year. Daniel is just destroying $300 a month in pure depreciation. Top of everything. More than the entire annual take-home pay of millions of Americans, vaporizing in his driveway every 12 months. What Daniel should have bought is a 3-year-old CPO BMW X5 Lexus LX or Genesis GV80. Roughly $60,000, 20% down, 48-month loan at 7%. Payment about $1,749. Still a serious luxury in 99V. His all-in cost just dropped by over $1,000 a month. The loan pays off in 4 years, and the depreciation cliff is dramatically smaller because someone else already ate it. 4 characters, 4 wrong choices. Now let's see what those 4 decisions actually cost over a lifetime. Before we run the wealth gaps, here are the 3 rules you should actually use when you walk into a dealership. Rule 1, the 23-8 rule. Aggressive, for serious wealth builders. Put 20% down, pay it off in 3 years, spend no more than 8% of your gross income on total transportation. This is the rule for people who want to retire early. It's restrictive. That's the point. On $80,000, that gives you $533 a month for the entire car, and the 25% sanity check caps your purchase at $20,000. You're driving a used Civic, you're retiring at 55. Rule 2, the 24-10 rule. The realistic one for most people. Put 20% down, pay it off in 4 years, spend no more than 10% of your gross income on total transportation. This is what we recommend for most viewers. On $125,000 a year, that gives you $1,042 a month for everything, including insurance and gas. Strict enough to protect your wealth. Flexible enough to drive a car you actually like. Use this as your default. Rule 3, the 25% sanity check. The total purchase price of your car should never exceed 25% of your annual gross income. Make $50,000, cap at $12,500. Make $8,000, cap at $20,000. Make $125,000, cap at $31,000. Make $250,000. Your gut test. If the dealer is showing you a car more than 25% of your salary, you're being sold, not served, and the single line that captures all 3. If you can't pay it off in 4 years, you can't afford it. Doesn't matter how the dealer structures the loan. If you need 84 months to make the math work, the math doesn't work. Walk. But here's the part that should keep you up tonight. Let's go back to all 4 versions of Daniel and run the wealth math. We're going to take the difference between what he spent on the wrong car and what he should have spent on the right car and invest that monthly difference into a basic S&P 500 index fund at the historical 10% annual return over 30 years. This is what compounding actually does when you stop interrupting it with new car payments every 6 years. Daniel at $50,000. Difference between the wrong Corolla Cross and the right used Civic, about $236 over 30 years. Invested at 10% over 30 years, $533,100. Difference between the wrong BMW X3 and the right used CR-V hybrid, about $490 a month. Invested at 10% over 30 years. Daniel at $125,000.
Difference between the wrong Tesla Model X and the right used Model Y, about $498 a month.
Invested at 10% over 30 years.
Invested at $26,500.
Daniel at $200,000. Difference between the wrong new Porsche Cayenne and the $1,026 a month. Invested at 10% over 30 years, $2,319,900. Same Daniel, same income, same job, same families. The only difference is the car he chose to drive home from the dealership. And here's the part that genuinely should keep you up tonight. Add those 4 wealth gaps together, and Daniel's family lost $5.1 million in lifetime wealth, just from car choices, across 4 income levels he lived through anyway. Every single one of those numbers gets bigger if Daniel makes the wrong choice more than once, which most people do every 6 years for their entire working life. Every time you trade up to a car you can't afford, you don't just lose the price difference, you lose what that money would have become. The car you drive doesn't make you wealthy. The car you don't buy does. 2 numbers. Always remember there are 2 numbers when you walk into a dealership. The first is the number the lender will approve you for. The second is the number you can actually afford. They are never the same numbers, and the gap between them is where most middle-class wealth quietly disappears. Use the 24-10 rule as your default. Use the 25% sanity check as your gut test. And if you can't pay the car off in 4 years, you can't afford it. If this video changed how you think about your next car purchase, hit subscribe, because the next one in this series runs the math on whether you should pay cash for a car or finance it. The answer surprised me when I ran the numbers, and it might surprise you too. I'm Professor Wealth. The math always wins.